What's going on? Welcome to another episode of Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, we'll be discussing Coby White's season, what is placed on his team if he has a role going forward. We'll also be breaking down what happened in today's lottery and how that affects the Bulls draft picks. All that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another episode of Locked On Bulls. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator and operator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host of Chicago Bulls Central. Today's episode, we got a special one planned for you guys. Thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen of the day. Locked On Bulls, a member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Pat, the draft lottery happened for the first time in quite a while. The Bulls did not have a pick in the lottery.
While it was in Chicago.
Well, yeah, hey, listen. But listen, I'll take that. That's fine.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fine. As long as listen, I'll take it. I'll take it. But one thing that we wanted to start off with, since that's the big news right now, the Magic did get the number 1 overall pick. But let's actually talk about what this means for the Bulls drafting at number 18. Will what they need? Are they even drafting based off need? Now, this is the part that I do want to start this conversation off with you, Pat, and then we'll get into our actual picks. Mm-hmm. Do we think the Bulls try to draft off need? The reason why I don't necessarily think that they may is because, yes, they need a shooter, but they also are trying to get closer to actually competing for a title. So do you draft best available and then fill your needs in free agency with veterans who are more trusted, more battle-tested? What do you think the methodology should be there? And then we'll talk about what we see the Bulls doing in the draft.
Well, I think when you're good, right, like you want to draft best available. Do we feel like the Bulls are there yet, right? Like we can look at the series that we've got going on tonight or last night with the Eastern Conference Finals and say that there's not really a superstar in that matchup right there. So do you feel like you can build your team with star power and just add some pieces in there that maybe is best available, right? Or do you feel like you still need to find that gem in the draft? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm still leaning towards probably moving on the pick just based on the teams that are ahead of us right here, right? Like we saw the teams in the lottery. Of course, they all have a ton of need. Poor Dame Lillard tonight, by the way. Did you see Dame's face?
Yeah,
just crushed at the fact that the Blazers had 7. 7 is a cursed spot, bro. 7 is a cursed spot. Bulls fans know this, man. But I look at the situation that the Bulls are currently in, and I mean, what do you think? Like, I feel like even using the pick might not be the best move for the Bulls based on the teams that are ahead of us.
Well, you don't really base off the teams that are ahead of you, because at the end of the day, you have to trust your own scouting staff. And as we know with AK and Eversley, is that they go deep in the draft. Hell, look at what they did with a second round pick. So I think that if they feel that they can improve this bench enough through free agency, that they may keep the pick. I still think I'm with you. I still think that they probably move it, especially if they have to package it with the Coby or whatever to make a big splash deal. But I think looking at AK and Eversley, that we know that they have a plan in place. They have plans for plans. They're Batman. And so because of that,
that's a fact.
Because of that, I think you really do look at, hey, if we see a player that we feel could develop into a star or be a steal, then yeah, you hold that pick. You got to look at it like some of the picks that I'm looking at are right around where the Bulls could draft. Tari Eason, right around there. He's slated to go between, mock drafts have him go between 13th, that's in the lottery, all the way down to about 20th. That's in the Bulls price range, or in their Bulls range. Mark Williams is another one. He's the actual guy I hope the Bulls do draft, which means that they're not, because anytime I have a specific pick I want the Bulls to draft, it never happens. But Mark Williams is slated to go again outside of that lottery, anywhere from 16th down to 22nd. I've seen him go for, and he's a player that I think he has a skill in which he could give you something now. He like a Taj Gibson in his rookie year, where he can do enough defensively to where you can trust him, but he has enough upside to where the Bulls may see him as, hey, yeah, he can give us something. We still need to get another veteran big to so that we can depend on, because we don't want to depend on a rookie, especially in the playoffs. But that could be a guy that the Bulls look at. EJ Liddell, another player that I think, because of the way that everything worked out, may actually work out for him to be around the Bulls pick. Now, he's slated to go anywhere between the late first round to the second round, but he could be a high upside pick, and he draws comps to Draymond Green. So because of that, I think that you may take a look at the Bulls may take a look at some of the players around here. Again, that Nikola Jokic dude, not the Nikola Jokic, but another foreign. Could be a drafting stash. Could be a drafting stash.
You gotta draft him just based on the name.
Could be a drafting stash for the Bulls, in which, hey, we did draft somebody that maybe we see some long-term potential in, but he may not come over here for a year or two.
Yeah,
that frees up a roster spot. Let's keep improving this bench. So there's a couple of different ways that the Bulls can go with this. But where do you think they go?
I think if they kept the pick right, I think somebody who I actually know, what he did in high school, because I'm good friends with one of his coaches, Patrick Baldwin Jr., a guy that went to his father's alma mater out in Milwaukee. I thought he was a name that could fall down there, because the college showing wasn't exactly what you would hope it was, right? But he's a freshman that's already probably declaring for the draft, already getting ready to, they don't spend a lot of time there. I feel like that's a name that might be down there around 18, somebody who you can hope to develop in their players, a pretty good shooter in high school. Did decent in college. Like nobody shoots amazing in college. Usually the dudes that do are your top picks. If you actually look at a lot of those guys, you'd be like, they were killing it in college. You go back and look at their actual numbers, you'd be like, man, he averaged a solid like 13 points a game. Like, so just somebody. I agree with the EJ Liddell pick as well. I think the biggest thing for me with, if they hold on to the pick and actually use the pick, I don't think we would see a draft and stash in the first round. We've seen AK kind of do that with those second round picks in his history. We haven't seen him do that with a lot of the first round guys. So I could see him doing that in the second round. I could even
we don't have a second round pick.
So. I was gonna say, I could even see a situation where you possibly trade back later into the first and get you a second round pick, because
you can't do that, because then we forfeit it.
Oh, that's true.
Our next available second round pick, we have to forfeit due to the tampering. So I hope they wouldn't. Yeah, so
it's true.
Well, it changes some things, right?
Trade back and get 2 first. Like,
I mean, you can technically.
I don't know who you could pull that off with. I don't know.
The thing that I look at this is so, like I said, Mark Williams is the guy that I'm really zeroing in on.
That would be the ultimate finesse, wouldn't it? Hey, you got to forfeit your next second round pick. AK trades back and gets 2 first round picks. Like 20 and 20, 22. Like, you ain't slick, dog. Like, my bad. They wanted it.
But looking at where the Bulls pick at, I really think, because Mark Williams is the guy that I'm zeroing in on. If he gets past Charlotte, because with that 15th pick, I think he could be obtainable, because does Atlanta really need another big at the 16th pick?
Yes and no. Because does John Collins want to be there or not?
This is true. This is
like,
true.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a part of that whole, like, I've been here an hour. I got my money. I'm sick of this place now. Like, like, bro, like,
but
you had a solid 15 games, bro. What are you talking about?
Remember there were some rumors, though, that he was kind of tired of Atlanta even before he signed an extension. Then it magically worked out, because they went on that playoff run. He got his money, and now it's like, hey, by the way, I still want to get out of here. Like, I still want to go. But
I don't know. I think he could. I think you could see him fall for sure. I think the bigger question here is, what do you think they should prioritize in the draft?
I think if they keep the pick, I think it has to be best available. You don't want to rely on a rookie when you're trying to compete for a need, right? Unless you're in the lottery. I don't think that, yes, the Bulls need shooting. Yes, the Bulls need a big man. They need better interior defense. I don't think you want to necessarily bet on that, a rookie to give you that, if you're trying to actually go on a playoff run. And so then I think that what the Bulls do is that they do go best available, whoever they have at the top of their list, because that's the most upside pick in their opinion.
But is best available going to cause you to have to, right? Like, is if best available is a guard at that position, right? We got that. We got too many of those. You know
Well,
what I'm
we
saying?
still
Like,
do actually need a scoring guard. So I mean,
you could that. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, do
Yeah.
you go with another Coby White type player, which would signal like, all right, Coby, pack your stuff, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you go with that kind of player already? But again, right, in that situation, now you're still talking about replacing Coby White with a rookie to take on that position.
No, but that doesn't. You don't necessarily have to rely on them because you're still improving the bench. But at that point, you're getting a younger player more than likely, who now their development, it's not needed right now, right? Because Coby, if he's going to be on this team, considering he's about to get an extension, you need him to give you something right now. If you get a rookie guard at your 18th pick that you see developing into a shooting guard, you can say, hey, spend some time down here in the G League, because guess what? We just went out and signed Eric Gordon, who's going to be our bench scorer. You can learn behind him, but we don't need you to. The money's good right now. You're on a team friendly deal. Being the 18th pick, it's not going to be nearly as much as the lottery pick. At that point, that need and the hit that it takes the team all comes down. So you're able to bet on that development a little bit more. Kobe's set to get an extension. He's already about to make $9 million next year. For him to be inconsistent and replace that with an inconsistent 18th overall pick, that changes a lot of things.
I feel like at this point, everything right now is a need. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you're at your cap for players you can let develop. Like, we're still talking about Patrick Williams has to develop. We're still talking about Ayo Dosunmu is now your other developing piece. You don't want to have 3-4 guys on your bench trying to develop them, right? Like, Coby White technically still has to develop. I think you need guys that not are developmental pieces, even if it's the best player available. You need guys that can contribute to your NBA game right now on a night in, night out basis. The 18th pick might get you that if you trade it away. But going after a rookie might get you there. Let's not act like we haven't seen rookies come in and be an instant impact all season long, night in and night out. AK might find that guy. I'm not saying that guy's not in the draft here, but I feel like whatever route they go, there isn't the time for development anymore.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that, because you're always going to have end of the bench players. And a rookie that's the 18th pick, if you have a vastly improved bench, can play that Matt Thomas role. And at that point, they're developing not just by getting minutes, but by being around a better team, soaking in some of that knowledge. So I don't think I get what you're getting at with that, but I don't think necessarily that it's black and white as that.
Wow, that's me. But
yeah, I mean, I mean, it's both of us technically.
Hey, we got
it. But next up, we're gonna get into that inconsistent player in Coby White and talk about his season. But first, I got to talk to you guys about Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens has a delicious product called AG1, where you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens to help you start your day right. This is
what are those adaptogens, brother?
Adaptogens help your body. So what adaptogens do is they actually help your body absorb more nutrients. There you go. Let's go ahead and get to it.
I love that the read made us look up what
you already know. You already know. Right now, it's your time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the cold and flu season, which we're not anymore. Heading into the summer, it's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NBA network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NBA network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Bam. Pat,
Hey.
this is going to get interesting, I think, in the comments, right? Because me and you, we know how we feel about Coby White. We talked about this heavily. That's one thing that we do. But Coby White's 2021-22 season has been up and down, very up and down. He had a great month of January and February, and then completely fell off a cliff. I think the season, this season, January may have been the best month of his NBA career.
Yeah,
and then completely fell off. What do you feel about Coby White's 2021-22 season?
Um, season overall, listen, it's a C minus to a D for me. Um, Defensively, Coby White improved. It's still not great defense, but I will give him credit. He did improve. Offensively, yeah, this is the best season of his career, I believe, with his averages this season and what he did in 2021, 2022. But Coby White's this season was the year where we said, hey, you're going to be a two guard. We realized that Garpax and Boylan and all of the idiots before you put you in the wrong position. You're going to be a two guard. I defended Coby White when Coby White came back and everybody was like, he's still playing poorly. I said, listen, he's off of shoulder surgery. That's an important part of shooting the basketball. He's going to be a two guard. As the season continues on, I can't rely on you. Not only as a point guard, I can't rely on you as a two guard. I can't rely on you. This series versus the Milwaukee Bucks was set for you to be the man. Him and Vooch. Vooch
I
didn't
don't
show up.
necessarily agree with that, but keep cooking.
I mean, listen, it's a series where all we need you to do is make shots. We watched it versus Boston. The reason Boston won is because they made 3-point shots. Grant Williams went, what did he go, 7 for 17, something like that in the last game. That's what we needed from Coby White. At least one game. He shoots. His job is to shoot. You got one job on this team.
Well, see, that's the issue, is that Coby White isn't a shooter, and that's what they turned him into this season. He's not a shooter. He's a scorer, meaning that you have to let Coby White go to work. For example, the months that I've said that he really cooked. Month of January, he averaged 31 minutes per game, 15.9 points per game on 47 overall percent shooting, 38 from 3. The month of February, 16.3 points per game, 45.9% overall from the field, 48.7% from 3-point range. Coby can shoot the three, but he's not a shooter. And that's the difference. And that's why I say that Coby still has a lot of potential, but I don't think that potential gets seen here in Chicago. Coby needs to go to a team that says, hey, we got you 25 to 28 minutes every single night. And all you got to do when you get the ball, you go to work. However you feel, if you feel you pull up for the shot, if you feel like you can take it to the cup. Coby is not a shooter. And that's something that we saw over the course of the season. He was made more and more to be a shooter as we lost more and more players. And we just saw that's not his game. Coby is not a shooter. And when you put him in that position, he's going to fail. Coby is a rhythm scorer, not a shooter.
I would push back on it because the big games that we saw Coby White have, they weren't from the mid-range. They weren't from him attacking the cup. They weren't from him finishing at the rim. They were from him shooting.
That's not true. That's not true. Coby White's biggest games, he started passing. He started playing good defense. His passing did look very good for a minute.
Passing looked better this season.
But he started off before anytime when Coby comes in and he just starts shooting, it's never going to go that way. Coby White's game did start going. Even the first game that he went off after that 20-game stretch of coming back from a shoulder was he hit a big layup and a floater. And then it was like, hey, I'm in rhythm now. Coby is a rhythm person, and it's never going to be just sit out here on the perimeter, take 5. He's not Lonzo. That's Lonzo's game. He's not Lonzo.
There's a couple of those plays that get him going. All right, that's just like Vooch, right? The play that gets Vooch going is the little back to the basket, turnaround flow. Once that gets going, all of a sudden the magic is uncorked and he can hit any shot on the court. Mm-hmm. But let's not act like Coby White's big games aren't him lacing from 3. Like Coby White I believe he holds the record for single game threes now for the Bulls. Am I wrong on that? That game, or did Zach break that?
Well,
that game versus Denver. That game versus Denver won up, or he's up there, right? Like he's a big 3-point shooting threat, and that's what I think what you would think would be his asset. And when he gets it going, it's because that 3 ball is absolutely falling. Not to say that he's scoring all 30 points from there when he has those 30-point nights, right? But like, I feel like there was an opportunity for Coby White to at least show us that, hey, I can be this for you And he didn't show us that consistently throughout the season, whether it was him attacking the bucket, whether it was him shooting, no matter what it was, right? At a certain point, it was Coby White, Ayo Dosunmu, and the rest of them. Yeah, and Vooch. You know what I'm saying? Like it was DeMar, Kobe, Ayo, and Vooch. Like he wasn't able to find his way into that rhythm at that point in the season. And so for me, Kobe's got a lot of inconsistencies. He's got a lot of up and downs. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to say that I don't think, like you said, I think Kobe will be an NBA player. I think he'll be in the league for some time. I don't think that he'll be gone, but his inconsistencies are too prevalent right now. And yeah, when he gives you that game, it's like Larry Markkinen. When he gives you that game, you love it. Oh, he's killing it. He's knocking it down. Wendell Carter. Like everybody has had a month. Guess what? The Bulls' 7th round picks are the kings of the month.
Yeah, remember Larry in February's? Remember
Larry in February was a dog.
Miritich in February's for what? It was Miritich in March. I think that was March. That March was Miritich's month.
No, Miritich was he was December, wasn't he? Right?
He was December.
He was December because him and Bobby Portis were cooking, and that's why we don't have Luka Doncic on the team right now. Everybody that was on my heels on that. You know what I'm saying? Well, why are we winning these games right now? Oh, you're not a real fan. You should want to win. I want to win, but like not now. But you got to see more for him. You really do. And I feel like, I mean, we're going to get into kind of like where we see his role on this team going in the final segment. But I mean, I don't feel like we saw enough from Coby White at all.
Oh, for sure. I 100% agree with that. That was not at all in defense of Kobe season.
Yeah.
Because Kobe had every opportunity to. They gave Coby White 20 minutes every game even when he was not hitting anything. Yeah, and more. And
they literally were like, I will give, and we got to do the Built Bar read. And I will give Billy Donovan and AK credit. None of the players that have left here have said they can say they didn't have the opportunity. None of the players that have left here can say that the Bulls did not give me the opportunity to be successful. That's what they built on, man. And you know what else is built out here, man? I gotta tell you about Built Bar. Built Bar is out here dropping birthday cake puffs. And based on every other host that Locked On, I've heard that they are phenomenal. Imagine dipping your finger into a plastic tub of birthday cake frosting and then opening your eyes and realizing that it was 150 calories and 16 grams of protein. This is what it's like to eat the birthday cake puffs from Built. If you haven't tried the puffs, I'll let you in on a little secret because that's what friends do, right? It's a chocolate-covered marshmallow. You heard me right. Marshmallow protein bar. Delicious flavored marshmallows covered in 100% real chocolate. Make every day your birthday with Built Bar's birthday cake puffs. Built has taken a delicious experience of biting into a fresh slice of birthday cake and enrobed it in 100% white chocolate and added sprinkles. Now, listen, I know that sounds fat, but here's the thing. 150 calories, 16 grams of protein, and only 9 sugars. This limited time flavor is an amazing option if you're looking for a healthy way to get flavor and variety in your day. So here's what I need y'all to do, man. First things first, go to Built.com and get the birthday cake puffs now, but also go to Built.com, and when you get those birthday cake puffs, use the promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off your order. Use the promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com.
There you go. All right. Next up, we're going to talk about what role, if any, Coby White has on this team going forward in the season. Now, me and you, I think we both see Coby White more than likely not being on this team.
Yeah.
But if he's going to be here, what role do we see him having?
He's got to be your Vinnie Johnson. He's got to be your spark off the bench, and I think that leash needs to be tight. I think that's the biggest problem that we saw with him this season. Coby White would come out there and like you said, he gave him all the opportunity in the world to be great. Too much opportunity. When Coby was on, like I get like at this point, right, we're going into year 4 of Coby White. And we still don't know if he can play and be that spark plug off of your bench for you. We still don't know. And I'm not taking anything away from what he's been through. I think this is going to be his first year having an offseason because he's going into it healthy. We know that he had COVID on his side. I think he did play in his first summer league, but I don't think he was involved in one after that because of COVID and stuff like that. But at this point, you're talking about an extension right now for a player that hasn't put up anything that you feel good about other than a month flash. That's a problem. And so for me, you have to come out. You have to be that scorer. You have to be that guy that is the offense off of the bench, which was literally set up for you because none of the other bench players really are offensive juggernauts. So you were the offense off of the bench this season, and we didn't see enough of it. So I think that has to be, he has to take on that brunt. If he's going to be part of this Bulls team moving forward, when we swap out, just like with the Golden State Warriors, when they take Klay Thompson out and they put Jordan Poole in, I'm not worried about an offensive drop-off when Jordan Poole walks on the court. I need that same thing from Coby White. I need that same. I'm not saying he's got to put up 20 plus either. I'm not saying he's got to be Tyler Hero, but you got to, at a minimum, be giving me 15 and give me the threat that people are worried about you scoring offensively. Because we got to a point where people were just like, go ahead, shoot it. I want to see you make 2 of them before I'm going to play up.
Yeah. The thing with Coby is if he's going to be on this team, as you said, he needs to figure it the hell out. Whatever he needs, the motivation, whatever it is, he has to really figure out how to be more consistent. That's what we need. Whether it's consistent 10, right? If you give a consistent 10 with an improved bench, all right. But the nights that Coby goes 0 for 8, that's not going to cut it. Because you were getting open shots, right? You were getting open shots. And especially Lonzo, Io's going to develop more. Caruso's going to be better healthy. You have to hit your shots. And that's the part that frustrated me the most about Coby is that he got the open looks. And again, to his credit, the whole team got cold from 3 the
Whole
second
team,
half of the season.
It's not just Coby White. Whole team was bad from 3. I have a tough time with when I'm watching Coby play because there's certain things like it's like you said, right? If you gave me a consistent 10, but even if you gave me something, right? Like Coby, the problem that I had with Coby is Coby would go 0 for 8 and he would have 4 turnovers and he would play 15 minutes and he would play awful defense and he would get cooked on, he would be lost off ball, right? Like you can't do that. Bad shooting nights happen.
Yeah.
Vooch had bad shooting nights night in and night out. Like all season, we were talking about Vooch struggling shooting the ball, but he still gave me something. I still left that and I'm like, all right, but he gave me a double-double. You can't tell me anybody else is rebounding on this team. Zach LaVine on some nights where he wasn't scoring, he upped his passing. Yeah. His facilitating up. When DeMar was off, DeMar was off.
I was about to say, DeMar too. When DeMar was off, like listen.
But when Lonzo was off shooting wise, right? Passing, defense, like
defense.
You got to give me something on the court. Otherwise, me and Steph have a saying: you out there getting active.
But I think ultimately Coby's time on this team, whether it's at the draft, whether it's at the this next season's trade deadline, whether it's just letting him walk and he just doesn't get, they may give him the Larry treatment. He may just go through and they may go through the season and
I don't think he'll quit on the team. Larry got
well, no, I don't mean he's act like Larry. I mean the Larry treatment in the fact that the Bulls didn't trade Larry at the trade deadline. They just they were going to let him walk. They turned it into a signing trade.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I thought you meant like minutes wise. I was going to say Larry got the Larry treatment for a reason. Like,
well, yeah.
Larry
turned into a crybaby.
We watched that game where Lowry quit on us, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, hey, he could still be a nice piece off the bench. I want to see him with Vooch. Let's see how this works. And then I watched him like just stand out there and watch rebounds bounce past him. I was like, hey, get Buddy off my team.
Bro,
he gotta go.
Bro, it was literally like at some point towards the end of last season, Larry was like, you know what? No.
When did he get benched? He got benched right after when did we get Vooch?
We got Vooch at the trade deadline.
We got Vooch right at the deadline.
Right at the deadline.
Lowry,
I feel like it was a week.
So
and then they were like, hey man.
Lowry was still playing like after the All-Star break in the starting lineup. And then they were like, "Hey, this ain't gonna work," and they benched him.
Yeah.
And Lowry just was like, "Nah, bro, I'm a starter in the NBA, so I'm not gonna grab rebounds no more." What? You 7 feet tall, brother. That's all I need you to do at a minimum. Good Lord. Think about that, bro. We was bad.
Listen, Laurie literally looked at that and was like, "Oh, you gonna do this to me? To me?"
You will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay. Shoe program.
Oh
Hey,
man.
clap it up for Peck and them boys, man. How did they do this show when we were that god awful?
Bro, I feel like me and you would have showed up and be like, "So the Bulls lost again today."
I will say, I probably would rant if we ever got that bad again, which I hope to God we never get that bad again.
Yeah.
I would probably rant about as much as Peck did. You would probably see me flip a couple of tables on Lockdown. It's all good though. Oh, that was tough. That was an ugly time.
So shout out to Matt Peck and Big Dave, by the way, doing their big things over there.
Shout out to them, man. Big
Yeah.
love over there, man.
But yeah, that's it, man. You got anything left?
Nah, I think that's about it, man. Coby White, figure it out or fall back.
Shape up or ship out. That's where it boils down to.
I ain't lying to you, man. The sad part is Io walked in day one and was like, "Hey, that's my job."
But Io and Coby did eventually develop a heck of a chemistry together.
They had that. They had that. You know, they played on U18 together.
But the thing is, though, is that had we not got hit with as many injuries, I think if that dynamic with Io and Coby was able to continue to grow, they both would have benefited a little bit from it.
Yeah.
Io would still have hit the rookie wall, but maybe not as hard because then at that point he wasn't going to be playing starter level minutes, which he eventually did. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's all on the player. Coby has to show up and figure it out. If he does not and cannot, this Chicago Bulls team is going like AK. I would not be surprised, honestly, if Coby, depending on what they do with this bench, he is the end of the bench player. At the start of the season.
I'll go one step further. I'm not a gambling guy, but I would bet a lot that Coby and that 18th pick are going to turn into your bench score. I think that's gonna become your bench score right there. That is more consistent.
And knowing AK and Eversley, like I said, they probably have a packet. This folder is marked T for trade. That it's like if there's probably, let's say they have two guys. Two guys that if they're available at that 18th pick, they're going to keep it. If those two guys are gone, they already have probably 15 teams they call about
and contingency plans.
Yeah, exactly.
Is AK you doing it on the computer, or AK seem like he old school? Like he's like, go to the cabinet. This is a file cabinet that pulls out like 4 feet. He's got to go through A to Z. Like,
pulled out the folder, throws about 4 folders out. It's like, let's get to work.
The manila folders, bro. He just
man. He probably has Post-its all over the place. Like AK, I would love to be in the mind of AK. Like have a conversation.
Like you know the cabinet's behind the wall. Like he's got to push a button and it flips out. Like AK, they just drafted EJ Liddell. Did they now? What the? Did y'all know that was back there? Who put the file? Why is there a file cabinet back
That's
there?
why I said Batman. Like he probably has unless he has a tunnel under his desk. Like I'm telling you.
When the commissioner showed up to give him his fine for tampering, like the seat just sank into the floor.
Oh,
the like, oh, he's not here. I could have sworn he was in here.
Listen, anybody in the Locked On Bulls fandom that is listening to this, if you have Photoshop skills and can Photoshop AK as Batman, I'll pay you a commission because we need that. Oh man! All right, go ahead and give me the social media. This got me coughing and shit, man.
Follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. That's at PATTHEDESIGNER. Yes, I did grow up in the Batmobile, but he taught me how to spell while I was in there, man. You can also follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls.
Absolutely.
Hey, make sure y'all keep up with the social medias, man.
You can follow me at CEO Haize. That's CEO HAIZE. And now I hope all of you guys have it stuck in your head, imagining AK being Batman. But thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen of the day. Now for your second listen, go and listen to Locked On NBA, where the Locked On analysts give you the insight on everything that affects the NBA. They break down the playoffs. They break down the draft that's coming up. Everything that you want is going to be over on Locked On NBA. So make sure you check them out wherever podcasts are available. Thank you so much for listening to us today and sharing your day with us. We out. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
Peace. Stay safe out there, Chicago.